the tank. Covered in thick plate armour, mounted on all-terrain tracked suspension, and armed with a powerful cannon and machine guns. This is one of the most formidable weapons on the modern battlefield. The Base Borden Military Museum in Ontario is home to one of the largest collections of tanks and armoured vehicles in Canada. This M4 Sherman on display in the museum's Memorial Park is one of the most iconic tanks of the Second World War. Used extensively by Canadian soldiers in their campaigns against Nazi Germany, it was the armoured workhorse of the Western Allied armies. However, while the tank is popularly associated with the campaign to the Second World War, the weapon actually made its debut in World War I. By late 1914, the British, French and German armies found themselves locked in a system of static trenches on the Western Front. Having fought each other to a standstill, each side dug in to preserve their positions. Over-the-top infantry assaults soon became bloodbaths, as entrenched machine guns and artillery mowed down the exposed advancing infantry. In an attempt to break the stalemate, the British invented a new weapon. Built specifically to smash trenches, German soldiers are about to find themselves face to face with a mechanized monster. Over 25 feet long and heavily armed, these rhomboid-shaped giants were like nothing ever seen before on the battlefield. One can only imagine the terror the Germans felt when these machines first thundered towards them in 1916. While the British can lay claim to being the inventors of the tank, it was the French who came up with a design which forms the blueprint of the modern tank. Inside this building at the Base Borden Military Museum is one of the last surviving examples in the world. Behold, the Renault Tank. Seems rather ridiculous to think of this as a modern tank. It's only about 7 feet high, 16 feet long, and ever so tiny. It's crazy thinking about it now, but 2 people would have to fit in this. A driver in the front and the gunner in here. It is very, very cramped in here. I would not have wanted to have been in this when it took a hit. That said, the configuration of the driver at the front, the engine in the rear, and the main gun mounted in a fully rotatable turret, a first in tank history, forms the standard layout of a modern tank. Despite their small size and limited firepower, Renault tanks actually performed rather well on the battlefield. By the final stages of World War I, tanks had become an integral part of the Allied war machine. At the Battle of Amiens in August 1918, hundreds of tanks tore into the German lines. Inflicting a decisive defeat on the German army, the stalemate of trench warfare was finally broken. In the ensuing 3 months, tanks would play a key role in the Allied offensives that led to the collapse of the German army. In November 1918, Germany sued for an armistice, and the war was over. The tank had arrived.